Hey everyone, I just want to make a video about a few things about this country named Canada on a Saturday. Um, we all know that we have are still going through pandemic situations and whatnot. I just want to explain a few things of what happens when we have pandemics in Canada. What happens in the system? Um, it's something I used to study upon back in 2006, 7, and 8. That when the charter goes down to make general changes in healthcare sector of the charter, well, it kicks off some modules in reverse. And what it does is, like, one of the modules is all the way around to nothing module. And it's an all the way, each and every way, all the way around to nothing module. And it kicks off surface modules. And I'll explain one surface module that it kicks off. And it's a semi-singularity module in Canada. And some's reverse, some is forward as far as an order. I call it the 6P module, and it has to do with like police forcing, prescriptions, priests, or let's say your belief, propaganda, okay? Physicians, and protocols. Like our policing system. I don't know, guys. I don't think we have much of a policing system in Canada, because it's been a year I've been trying to obtain, some decency of competency, and it's pretty much 0% so far. And holy fuck, I tell people what I used to do for a job here in this country, and it's just not clicking. It's like I don't know if it's vegetable stupid or something, but we definitely have a problem in Canada with competency when it comes to police forcing and the charter, code of conduct, proper protocols, and the direction of order in your job. And that's one of the things that's not being followed anymore. It's quite obvious. Prescriptions. Like, general society may or may not fall into a situation where when the charter goes down, they may or may not be in a situation they may see their doctor and not get prescribed certain medications, okay? Be careful. Always double check and just don't fall through the cracks with the medications. And that's a problematic situation in Canada as well, because we have a huge chemical dependency problem. I'm aware of it. It's a mountain of problems. Okay, as far as religion, we have something called left and right religion in pretty much every ethnic view that you have. So take that into consideration when you do see your priest or pastor or the one you pray to or whatever you look up to as far as religion. Always take into account both sides of things, because there's a left Catholic and a right Catholic. Just for example, it's not all positive, no matter which way, here and there, as you may perceive it. Propaganda, holy Chris. Propaganda in Canada has been way out of the threshold of normality now for at least a decade and a half. It's so propagandic at this moment that it's detrimental to the health and well-being of society in Canada. It's so overwhelming as far as a propaganda system, as far as media and communications and this and that influence that it's actually taking some of society's lives, unfortunately, because people no longer know what's the truth or what's real or what's not, or at what percentage, and it's really not going well. It's actually taking lives. Protocols. Protocols are not being followed. I've also noticed in Canada we have a protocol problem when it comes to media communications across the nation on whatever networks that we have. Two major networks in Canada, and they both have their own major issues within both, and they're not quite the same issues. So if you have a problematic issue with one communications network company, the other one has another set of major communication set of problems that are not being repaired. I've noticed, and I'll just say it flat out because it's something that I've noticed back in 2008, and I noticed it again last summer, was Bell Media with its propagandist radio. And it puts a menu of 80s music with a subliminal overlay on it, attached to other factors, even your handheld device. And it may be picking up some kind of information here and there. And it's creating a huge problem within the radius. Let's say if it's an 80,000 watt transmission radius, well, that 80,000 watt radius, let's say it may be a 30 or 40 or 50 kilometer span. Well, everything in that radius is affected if you're listening to that radio frequency. And that's a huge problem, and not very many are picking up on it. It's pissed me off last year. When the charter goes down, don't listen to the radio. Pick your own music. Do it on a standalone basis, like a paid service. That's the best advice, like a paid service. Choose your own music. Same thing with physicians. Be cautious, especially when the charter goes down. Some of your physicians may be in some kind of a scam just for money to ruin society for some payout. I've noticed that. In some ways, this is a disaster of a place. And in other ways, it's pure habit. Bedside. So, some percentages of societies might get entrapped in prescriptions, and then they might be consuming chemicals in such fashion as far as the prescriptions or a problem, a habit may have formed or something like that. And when we have the downturn, okay, the people that have gone into that entrapment of maybe having a chemical issue or a chemical dependence or a new habit or something like that, they're not going to realize everything that's going around them when these modules are going to all the way around to nothing. Because we have an all the way around to nothing economic, an all the way around to nothing society, and an all the way around to nothing country module. And those three are spinning in different mechanisms, using different factors of actuality, and actuality of factors at different momentums and different rates, depending. I'm not going to get into the more refined things. However, that's like basic overview. And it's still winding right now at this moment. I noticed the wind down last April for the economic. And when that kicks on, the provincial and federal levels, they're supposed to be reconfiguring economies, forward order economies, new developmental projects, job creations, and whatnot. But they don't. And it's something that I had discussions with the central government of Germany about back in 2008. And at that moment, when that flag kicks the other way, we're supposed to be reconfiguring the forward order. And it's not being done. But what happens in this country is no one's listening. I'm the only person that can do it in the country. I'm the only one with the authentication to do so. However, no one wants to listen to Stephen, just like in 2008, so everything just shut right down after a moment. But see, this time I noticed it like really early. And I tried to warn government and, let them know. No one listened. So what happened last summer is that I had break and entering. Had like so many poison attempts that didn't even make sense. And the way that works, well, how could that be, Stephen? I mean, poison attempts. It's like this. If I go to the Depanade or the grocery store somewhere, the minute I leave, someone on the road somewhere, maybe a kilometer down the road, see Stephen go by, send a notification. Okay, Stephen's heading to Grand Falls. Stephen gets in Grand Falls. Another one, notification, Stephen's in Grand Falls. And then another notification. Okay, Stephen's at this store. Approximate time, 30 minutes. So someone can pick the lock and just a little bit in the Pepsi, a little bit in the water, stick something in the food. Stephen comes home, glass of Pepsi. That's it. And I've seen that a couple times before I realized that, here we go again. So I created some deterrents for that to stop. And I was okay for the most part, but in 2008, I got caught up quite a few times being poisoned. And I've built up different techniques and tactics to overcome those situations these fucking days. So, I took care of that. Others may go through, similar situations or different sets of situations that we may not realize what our friends or our co-workers or our acquaintances are going through in lives. When the charter is down and it's winding down in reverse to neutral. And they're all different sections of these modules that happen. And for some, they see it as a way of life. For me, it's hell because I stay out of the modules. See, I don't drink. I don't have a chemical dependency. I don't do any drugs. I don't have any prescription medications. I eat clean the best I can. I lost about close to 80 pounds over the last year. So I'm out of those thresholds of that particular service module. So I'm on the outside of things while it's winding down, looking at to try to figure out correct configurations for Canada. It's something I did in 2008. I created a module called Faith. It was a 50-year plan for the complete country, calculated right down to the penny, that worked 24/7 around the clock, seamlessly, fluidly, without any errors in it. The complete plan for the country, an economic plan. And within 4 years, every citizen would have a basic income payment just to make certain they could survive without having to contact government in any which way, in any order, no matter what, within 4 years. And I created a completely different economic structure because in Canada we have something called shred economy. Doesn't fucking make any sense. And the plan I had was a forward order basic income guarantee, along with freedom under the Charter to actually make your own choices in life without penalty under these modules that are detrimental to societies, and the separations between our societies and the balances between them. Because in this country, we have quite a few different societies. It's not just Hispanic or Mexican and Canadian, and you know what I mean? It's, we have mainstream, we have illogic, we have reverse illogic, we have mainstream forward society, we have fur people, we have fur hunter, we have Aboriginal, we have Wet'suwet'en, we have herds people, we have many different societies here. It's very complex. However, we're not managing it correctly. It's creating a downturn in our country all the time. We never have any growth report because of so many different factors that are mismanaged. It's just illogical now. So what I've been doing over the last year, I've been pretty busy, but not really, but kinda. I get a lot of attacks on my life because I'm trying to figure out a good reconfiguration about what is actually happening. I do a lot of testing. I do a magnetic fluctuation test. Because I've noticed something, I won't talk about it in this video, but I do a magnetic fluctuation test in July. When I notice a downturn like that, because we do have a fluctuation of about almost 11%. Kinda. And now I've noticed during that fluctuation time, or that moment, that our natural food is not stable, or as stable as it should be. And it's something I noticed in 2008, and I tried to explain to a few, the top experts, but when the top experts don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, but you have the proof of something, and they still don't understand you, who's the fucking expert, actually? That's just it. I'm wondering the same fucking thing these days. So I've noticed that when we have a magnetic fluctuation when I do my test, I've noticed like stable foods. I'll give you an example. Bananas. Instead of bananas having a shelf-stable life for, let's say, a period of, let's say that when it's at the market to your home, you're good for maybe 2-3 weeks, depending. Well, I've noticed during the fluctuation, 4 or 5 days. Same thing with bread. I've noticed that bread may have a shelf-stable life for maybe 3-4 weeks in total, and it'll have a date on the tag. But you can surpass that date, no mold. It just won't mold. Different factors with food. A lot of fresh foods, just not as quite as stable as they would be naturally. Something I've realized. Realizations expert. I've also noticed some TSR issues, like time space reality issues, and I'll get to that in another video because that's pretty complicated stuff. And I've noticed that we're not realizing a lot of things in our environment at different moments during our day or even our evening. Because chemicals, the chemical levels in the human mind. And I'll give you an example. Well, typical person, hey, let's go have a beer. Let's go have a drink, glass of wine, whatever. Okay, that's fine. How often? Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, twice a week. Depends, right? That's just it. All right, so you're getting the kind of So you're on a Friday. Take your prescriptions. Okay, you had coffee. Then you had your little dietary drink that you like to drink at the office that's supposed to streamline your body systems. That fucks that right up. Because you already have your chemicals. And then you have a chemical addiction. Huh? A lot of people like to hit the pipe and stuff. More chemical. Oh, once in a while. It's not gonna. Okay, that's, yeah. 2 or 3 times. You're overloading your systems. It cannot filter out the toxicities because you already have an abundance already building up of other things, like your coffee, and then your prescription, and then that, and then the alcohol, and that adds up. Then your mind is no longer at the optimum nutrient levels anymore. You have offset them with chemical nutrient. That's not even a nutrient. It's just tricking the mind, thinking so. So you're not realizing as much as you would. And I'll give you a different example. Let's say you have a circular 12-hour moment in your day. And if you would fill your system up with chemicals that were probably not good for you. Well, percentage, okay? Let's say a certain percentage is okay for a prescription medication. Not much risk. However, add the alcohol, and then a chemical addiction, and then this, and that food, and this food that's no good for you, and that. It adds up. Toxicity. So you're only realizing in your 12-hour day, let's say that, let's just say chemical addiction. If you have an overabundance of chemical in your body that cannot be overfiltered to the systems within the systems of the body, you may not realize a certain percentage of your days or moments. It's like, what did you eat for breakfast? I don't remember. You know what I mean? Something like that. You really would have to focus, like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's something like that. You're no longer realizing certain moments during your daytime. And that's part of the problem. However, you're free to choose your life. I mean, if you want to drink coffee, that's fine. If you want to drink Pepsi and alcohol, that's fine. It's all, you know what I mean? It's just, when you have like too much alcohol and too much this and too much chemical and too much that, it will affect you and you won't realize it anymore. And it affects societies when it's too widespread. Like ice or methamphetamine addiction, that's pretty widespread, and I find it difficult to cope with societies around me sometimes. It's not easy because here I am, I'm Fort Order. I follow, the charter. I'm fond of the charter. I find other members of society, it's not that they're bad. However, they're just not realizing some things anymore. I find it unfortunate. Try to slow down. TSRs, time, space, reality. I've seen so much TSR issues in this country. And I think I've come up with a certain possibility of what is causing that. Well, actually 2 of them. I know there's one of them. But the second one, I didn't realize that many years ago. It has to do with our history. I realized that we do repeat instances of time and have the proof of it. And it's something that I spoke with discussions with world leaders back in 2006, 2008. Try to explain something like that when it's all something that's not known around the world. It's like, well, take a rest. I had refined my information 2008 and have a little bit of proof further on than what I had that we do repeat time. We just do not realize it. And there's also such a thing where we have double instances overlapping each other in real time. And both is relative. And it's something that I did a test on in 2008. Oh, what a mess. It's a topic that's not even understood. And it has to do with a lot of mathematical equation. And it's alien technology. It's just we're not understanding it yet. But I have unlocked quite a few things. See, I had amnesia back then. Anyway, I've recovered over the past year, and everything's all good now. I remember everything and then some more, and all the questions I had back in 2008, and all the developments I've gained over the last decade. I have more answers than questions these days about the unknown and the first time stuff around the world. Like different parallels of reality and stuff like that. I tried to explain to astrophysicists back in 2008, and it was difficult. Not anymore. Very easy. Actually, I performed tests all last summer on different parallels of reality, and I'll explain that in the next video, but TSRs, I have information to actually stop the world. So I'm going to post this video, and welcome to Talk Night Canada, kinda, a Saturday morning. And what happens to me is, well, they try to take my life. And I'm in a module as well, but I'm neutral. I stay within the laws. I'm outside of those bracketeering factors. And it's not as abrupt as some people. And I have my ways of changing R within the TS. And I'll explain that. And I had to do, a few little decisions here and there, so not too many enemy attacks firsthand like I used to have in 2008. Took care of that. But they do try to kill me. And I'm in a module every which way to nothing as well. And for me, it's an every which way to starvation to death. And that's what they try to do to me in this country. It's very unfortunate. Something I tried to have them stop, and here I am again, and that's what they're up to. For about 2 years now. It's in every which way to nothing. To death starvation. Or starvation death at the same moment. That's where I'm at. With incompetence across the nation. And everyone's disregarding laws. TSR video.